Hello FPV fans and welcome back to ArxangelRC. Today I will be testing a new Full HD FPV system by R2Teck, the DVL-1. Right from the get-go, what differentiates this system from what I've had before was the packaging. Super solid and stylish box, as if you're getting a high-end tablet or smartphone, although at that price I would expect this to be so. The Aomway Nexus and another system that I also got that was so bad it wasn't even worth posting about it, both came in your standard run-of-the-mill bland and cheap cardboard packaging. So based purely on the packaging of the product, I'm willing to assume this one just might prove to be better made and designed. The transmitter and receiver come in stylish aluminum housings, and to my surprise the transmitter is actually lighter than what its size and looks would suggest. Also, both units come with built-in fans and proper cooling vents, and in fact running the transmitter for 15 minutes at room temperature resulted in it barely getting warm, which is very reassuring for summertime use. You also get a full set of antennas for the proper frequency this time, unlike the Aomway Nexus, 2 for the video transmitter, 4 for the video receiver. The video receiver can be powered directly from a battery with an XT60 connector and has a regular sized HDMI cable, which makes it super convenient to connect to most monitors out there. Also, if you download the R2Teck app, you can connect to the receiver via Wi-Fi and watch the video there as well, although with a bit more delay. The transmitter has an OSD port in addition to the micro HDMI and power ports. The optional OSD module provides GPS and flight battery voltage information, so if this is your only video system on the model, you at least will have the most important information on the screen. Micro HDMI to micro HDMI cable is provided, and since most cameras have that exact connector, it should make it easy to get it working out of the box. Another cool option on the VTX is the ability to change the output power depending on local country regulations, etc. But while for binding and frequency change you do have hardware buttons on the transmitter, the output power is changed via the app, so you do need to have it downloaded on your phone and connected to the receiver. Haven't tested the app yet, sadly, because I totally forgot about it in the hype and excitement of getting to use this system. We'll do it soon and we'll report back in the next video. So the system is pretty straightforward. Connect the camera to the transmitter and power it on, connect the receiver to a monitor and power it on, and after a rather lengthy 40 or so seconds of booting up, you should see the image of your camera show up on the monitor, and to be honest, the delay is not that bad either. I would put it on par with that from my Phantom 3 Pro, for instance. Wouldn't work on a racing quad or for proximity flying, but would be totally acceptable on a large video platform or a big long-range plane. Now, for those of you that have seen my Eken H9R review, I did promise that I was going to use it with this system since they claimed it was designed for such use, but sadly that is another fail on the part of Eken. Even though the camera does output HD over the HDMI port, it is not able to record while that is happening. So end of the day I will not be using it, but rather my SJ7 Star, which not only outputs HD but is able to record in 4K at the same time. Mounting the system on my Believer wasn't very difficult, some velcro and some fiber tape, and I was done in a few minutes. At this time I will not be installing the OSD module, as I want to take things one at a time, so if something doesn't work it would be easier to figure out if I don't have a host of peripherals connected as well. I will be powering it with 12 volts from the same dual output back that is powering the servers with 5 volts, so we will see how good the inbuilt filtering is. At the field I mounted the receiver on a tripod with the antennas oriented as per the manual, with the flat side in the direction I will be flying in. Since I do not have a DVR capable of recording HD, I put my camera on a tripod to record the screen. As for the screen, it is not full HD, it has a resolution of 1200 to about 800, so do not be alarmed by the quality of the image. It is more like 720p right now, not the full 1080p. The plane was also feeling fine that day, although for some reason I took the Clouds' lithium ion pack and it is 600 grams lighter than the 12 amp lithium polymer pack I'm usually using on this plane, so I had to put in a 4S 10 amp pack as a ballast weight just to get the CG right. Luckily the lithium ion pack performed absolutely spectacularly during the the 5 or 6 takeoffs and the flights that day without recharging it at all. First good news is that when moving the servos around and throttling up the motors, I can see no visible interference in the HD downlink, which at least means that the power inside the transmitter is properly filtered, and that shouldn't be an issue in the air either. One of the bad things though is this. HD video cuts off immediately after takeoff. The frame just freezes, although in perfect detail and with no artifacts. This really got me puzzled quite a bit at first, because that was an even worse performance than the Aomway Nexus. Now, it wasn't a problem for me because I did have my analog video link working at the same time, so I was still able to fly the plane just fine, and the camera connected to the HD transmitter on board was indeed still recording, so it was a range issue of some sort. Weird thing was the freeze frame. Usually, if the link between the camera and the transmitter is lost, the screen would go to blue, but it wasn't going to blue, and the RSSI indicator in the top left corner was very much alive. When I landed, the video came back when I was walking towards my ground station, and I was already pretty close to it, only to go out again immediately after the next takeoff. At this point, I landed the plane and unplugged the analog video system, leaving only the HD working on the plane. Then I took a walk to the end of the airfield with the plane in hand, and guess what? The link did not break down after 10 meters, but was perfect all the way. I then powered back up the analog system, and guess what happened? HD link froze again on takeoff, but only later during the flight, when the camera's battery died and it switched off, did the monitor on the ground show a blue screen. At that moment it dawned on me. This system, like actually pretty much every other HD system, is using two-way communication, so the transmitter and receiver modules can properly sync, meaning that the receiver is also talking to the transmitter. When the analog video system is operational, and since both operate in the 5 GHz band, I guess the analog is interfering with the transmitter's ability to receive the signal from the ground, and that causes the whole issue. Flying the plane with the analog video system not working reveals that it doesn't lose signal at all around the airfield, and the image is actually very stable, so this thing can definitely go far. Problem was that it wasn't mounted properly for me to fly only on it, and the day was nearing its end, so I didn't have time to move things around and do another flight. That will have to be left for another day, when I have also figured out an alternative analog video system at a different frequency, because I do not feel comfortable flying on the HD one alone at this time. We'll also need to make a cable to power my camera of choice during these flights if I am to rely on seeing an image on the ground throughout the whole flight. Now granted, the analog and HD systems video transmitter antennas are very close to each other, and that may be part of the cause, so next week or the one after that I will do two tests, one with the HD system mounted further away from the analog system, and another with a 3.3 GHz video system, just to make sure the two will not interfere with each other, and will report back my findings. For the time being though, I am very optimistic about this system, because the flight where I had turned the analog system off was quite promising, with the HD system maintaining very good link beyond the end of the runway, and that is well over 200 meters. So fingers crossed, and very soon I will have more tests to see what this is capable of. In the meantime, if you're interested in this system, you can find some purchase links in the description below, as well as links for some of the other gear I've used, including the Believer plane. Buying anything via those links would go a long way towards supporting this channel and would be greatly appreciated. If you have liked this video, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and consider doing the same on Facebook for daily updates. Happy flying, and until next time.